John Mellencamp is a rarity in today's music business. Oftentimes, popular artists slip into obscurity after only one hit, but not John. We loved him for years. Next week, more than 20 years after his first album, Mellencamp releases his 15th. David Adelson visited the artist at his studio in Indiana and found he has no intention of slowing down.
But I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
He's paid his music industry dues.
During the 80s, I was only home like 15 minutes that whole 10 years. I was on tour the rest of the time.
He's got no time or tolerance for messing around.
If you see a guy my age who's worried about being cool, there's something wrong with him.
And even though he's created a wide variety of often intricate, musically diverse recordings, he's still labeled a Midwest rocker.
You know, I never really got that. I wrote a song called Small Town. I live in Bloomington, Indiana, and I'm a Midwest rocker.
His name is John Mellencamp. On Tuesday, he will release his 15th full-length album, simply titled John Mellencamp. It's the latest trip in a remarkable musical journey that has seen him sell over 40 million albums worldwide.
I've been fortunate enough to have these songs that keep getting played on the radio, and they get up, like Jack and Diane gets played as much today as it did when it came out.
Little ditty about Jack and Diane, two American kids growing up in the heartland.
Indeed, as he embarks on a new chapter in his career, John Mellencamp's musical story could already fill several volumes. A youngster from Indiana who in 1975 signed a deal with a big-time manager, Mellencamp soon found he lost his freedom and his name.
I went to them and I said, look, you know, I don't like this Johnny Cougar business. And they said, well, you know, we just spent a bunch of money marketing Johnny Cougar. You know, what do you think we should do?
But Mellencamp prevailed as he stuck to his musical guns and toured 190 days a year for nearly 20 years.
I never was a drunk and I never was a drug addict, but I could certainly stay awake for 5 and 6 days at a time. On my own volition.
After selling millions and establishing himself as a musical force, that life caught up with Mellencamp. In the summer of '94, his life changed forever.
I had a heart attack.
For Mellencamp, the episode proved revelatory.
It was very strange for me when I realized, hey, you're not thinking about yourself here. You're thinking about your newborn son, and you're thinking about Elaine.
The Elaine he speaks of is his wife, model Elaine Irwin. On the next E! News, we'll see how John, with the help of Elaine, regained his health and gained a new perspective.
You know, let's face it, guys really aren't worth a till they hit 40.
From his studio in Indiana, I'm David Adelson with John Mellencamp. John, thanks for the hospitality.
Well, I'm glad you could come out here and enjoy the Hoosier hospitality, but I think you better get back to your boat.
For E! News.
And I'm not running anymore.
David hasn't turned 40 yet, so he's not worth. As an Indiana native, John Mellencamp has a special affection for his home state. Indeed, after selling 40 million albums and earning 36 consecutive gold and platinum awards, Mellencamp has opted to remain a small-town guy in Indiana. David Adelson made the pilgrimage to Mellencamp's Indiana studio and is back in the newsroom with details. David.
Well, Steve, John Mellencamp definitely likes the pace of Indiana, which, as a speeding ticket I got on Route 37 so beautifully demonstrates, is considerably slower than other parts of the country. Here are some more pleasant highlights from my recent trip to the Hoosier State. These are good times for John Mellencamp. He's got a new album, simply titled John Mellencamp, a beautiful wife and family, and a perspective that's markedly different than it used to be.
At my age right now, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. You know, and it's because all the pretenses that any that I had are just about gone.
Indeed, Mellencamp's 15th album signifies massive change for the Indiana native. After an unhappy split from Polygram, his longtime record company, Mellencamp signed a new deal with Sony's Columbia label.
If I would have stayed at Polygram Records, I probably would have never made another record.
Now, for the first time in years, John Mellencamp is actually happy with his record company.
I get to make records, and I get the opportunity to try to sell them now, which is like, you know, a double bonus for me. For 10 years, I got to make records. Now I get a chance to try to sell them.
But it's not just about professional peace of mind. Mellencamp has found personal peace with his wife, Elaine Irwin, in his native Indiana.
She had this big career going and pretty much gave it all up to come out here and live with me.
During our recent trip to his secluded Indiana studio, Mellencamp told us why he remains a Hoosier.
I'm really on the fringe out here, and this keeps me on the fringe. You know, if I moved to New York, I got a model wife. I mean, you know, I could hire a publicist and we could go to all the things and be in all the magazines. But it's folly. You know, it's just not what life is about. To see yourself, you know, in People magazine is not what life is about.
Next to the studio is a garage where during the day, the world's most successful garage band prepares for an upcoming world tour.
I'm on my way, and I'm not running anymore.
Some of these guys have been in this band 25 years. Mike Wanchek has been in this band 25 years. He's been coming in the studio here since 1984 when it was built.
They got one black eye and a bloody nose.
And while the garage stays busy during the day, things really start rocking at night. Indeed, as John Mellencamp embarks on the next phase of his amazing career, he's not packing a lot of baggage.
I did an interview with Time magazine the other day, and the guy asked me, he says, what do you think people think about you? I said, I don't have a clue. And I thought about it for a second, and I thought, and furthermore, it's none of my business.
All right, Mellencamp's new album hits this coming Tuesday. Dates for the world tour will be announced shortly, Steve.
David, we learned from your story on Thursday that Mellencamp suffered a heart attack in 1994, and it sure looks like he smokes a lot. How's his health now?
Yeah, the smoking's his really only vice. The guy's fine. He works out relentlessly and runs over 5 miles a day. Now, during the interview, he kept saying that we were the same age. Actually, I'm 10 years younger than he is. We just look the same age. It's like us, big guy. We look the same age. You're at least 20 years older than I am, though.
You're absolutely right.
Gotta go, and my voice in my ear.
Bye, David.
See ya.
Still to come on E! News Weekend.